I got one. Ooh. Hey everybody, it's Shanna. Welcome back. I'm going to make a quick tutorial on easy contouring. Contouring 101. Contouring can sometimes scare people, but it's not that hard if you kind of have an idea of what it does. As you can see, I already put on my makeup and I have not done any sort of contour or highlight so far. So you can tell I look very flat. I look very pancake-like. I look like a potato. What contouring means basically is putting depth back into your face. So when you contour your cheeks, you'll hear people saying all the time, contour out your cheekbones. Pretty much what that means is you want to create the illusion of depth. So when you suck in your cheeks and you go right here, you can see it creates a shadow because that part of my face is sunken in. It has more depth than the rest of it. So pretty much what contouring does is just permanently gives that illusion of depth in your face with makeup, so you're not walking around like that all day, because that would be weird. So with contour colors, you want to stay away from anything shiny or glittery. You want something very matte. When it comes to contour colors, there's a variety of options. You can go with something more warm toned, like a warm toned brown, something that has an orangey tinge to it, or you can go very cool tone, which, you know, has that grayish sort of undertone in it. I like to go with more of the cool tone colors, but that's purely personal opinion. So I'm going to show you the parts that I contour on my face. Nothing too extreme, nothing too heavy. This is just basic if you're starting out, the areas that you'd want to contour. If, say, you don't have naturally very dominant cheekbones, or if you have a bit of a bubble chin, it can help with that. Or if you don't like your forehead, if your forehead's a little bit too large in your opinion, you can contour that too, and it gives the illusion of making things smaller. Pretty well all that contouring is thinking about how the light hits something. So if you're looking at something and there's a light shining on it, that first part that the light's hitting is going to look more protruding. That's going to be your highlight. Everything in behind that is going to get a shadow. And that's what your contouring is all your shadows. So you're putting the shadows back into your face after giving yourself a pretty blank base. So for me, I'm going to go back in with my highlight and contour palette from NYX, the one that's completely broken. And I'm going to use just that same color that I used last time, this one, and maybe a little bit of this one. But again, you go in with what you are comfortable with. If you don't want a super dark contour, then just go in with something lighter. You can get a more natural color. So you want to get a little bit on your brush and then tap it off. You don't want a big blotch of where you first start. And pretty well the basic thing is suck your cheeks in. You can see where your cheekbones naturally are, and you want to go right under that. So when you make that fishy face, you can kind of see where your cheeks would naturally dip in. So I'm going to do that now on one side, and then you'll see the difference. So you start at the back, really blend. Once you've got a lot of the color off your brush, you can bring it down. And you don't want to go too low. And you want to make sure that's blended right into your hairline. And bring it down. Not all the way, just a little bit. So now you can see when I'm looking straight at the camera, you can see this cheek looks a little bit more carved in than my other side. So I'm going to do the other side and then I will come back. Okay, so you can see that both sides are done now, and you just want to make sure that's really blended though. So see when I suck in my cheeks? That's right where that contour is. So that's basic cheek contour. You can get cream contours that are, I would say if you're starting out, I would say your best bet is probably a good powder contour. They're much easier to work with, and once you're more comfortable with that, then you can definitely go in, if you want, with a cream contour. The next part of my face that I usually contour is underneath my chin. So just along the jawline to give some sort of definition. Again, creating that depth so it's going in. So I'm going to go in with that same color, this one right here. Tap it off and then just go along the jawline. You want to go right under, not above, because then you're going to look like you have a beard. And just drag it down that tiny bit. So you can see, it gives the illusion that there is a shadow here. Now you want to make sure that you blend this in well. And a lot of the times what I'll do is I'll go over it with my sponge after and just make sure that it's blended. You have to remember that people that can see you from the side are going to see that harsh line if it's not blended. So I've done both sides, and you can see it creates a little bit of a shadow under my chin so that you're not having that double chin look. I mean, if it's there, it's there. There's not much you can do about it. The next part of my face that I contour is my forehead. I don't do much. I don't think I have an extremely large forehead, but I like to go just around the hairline, just the tiniest bit, to kind of give it some depth again. Bring that back in again since it's all gone. And you just want to make sure that that's all blended in and up into your hairline. So again, we're creating the shadow of our cheekbones here, the shadow of our forehead rounding back, and the shadow of our neck dipping in. So the last thing that I contour is my nose. A lot of the times I don't, but if you're gonna contour your whole face, you can contour your nose as well. I go in with the same color and just a little flat brush. And what you want to do is start very lightly from the corner of your eyebrow and just bring that down the bridge of your nose. You don't want a harsh line. Again, we're just creating that shadow. And this is going to give the illusion of a thinner nose. So once I have the lines drawn, I'm going to go in with the same brush and blend them out. You can also go in on the end of your nose and redo those lines and bring it in quite narrow if you find that you have a wide nose, and then just blend that out. Just make sure that those lines along your nose are super blended out, because you don't want people that are looking at you from the side, again, to see a harsh line. And it's a big thing to blend it up to your eyebrows. You don't want your contour to stop here. You're going to have a disconnect. So with that done, what I would do is just take my blender again, just go over everything, make sure that I don't have any super harsh lines. Go in on my forehead. So the next step would be to highlight, because you can't really have highlight without a shadow. You can't really have shadows without some sort of highlight. So to give the dimension back in, usually what I do and what highlight is meant to do is to bring your cheekbones forward, and that's why we put the contour under them. That gives them the illusion of depth. So the highlight will bring them forward, the contour will make that sunken in look. And then I usually put a little bit of highlight down my nose, just that draws your eye to the center of your nose, which creates the illusion of a thinner nose. For highlight, I usually use my Swamp Queen palette, and I use Gator Wings, which is this color right here. For highlight, I usually use this flat brush right here, and then it's that same double-ended one I used in my last video. You want to put that on the highest point of your cheekbones. So right under your eye where it starts to curve down, that would be the highest point. So you go in with your highlight right there, which you can see right there. And then I'm going to do the other side. So that's usually all that I put on my cheeks. As far as my nose, I do put a little bit on the tip of my nose and then put a little bit right there on my forehead. So you can see already how much lighter this area of my face looks, and that gives the illusion of even more depth. You can also put a little bit of highlight right at your Cupid's bow if you want, and a little bit on the chin. That's usually what I do. So you can see after that my face has a lot more depth, a lot more dimension to it now. I don't look so pancakey. So that would be the basic contour and highlight. Your cheekbones, your nose, your forehead, a little bit under the jawline, and that's about it. You can always, of course, go a lot heavier or you can go a lot lighter. That depends on what color that you choose. But if you're just starting out, those are the main points that I would start with. You can get into a lot more dramatic contouring, but again, in person, that can look weird. It can look heavy. On camera, it looks great, but again, when you're out, you don't want people to be seeing those harsh lines like you put a streak of brown down your cheek. So that's basic highlighting and contouring. Just remember, all it is putting depth back into your face. It's not scary. It's just makeup. You can always take it off and start over. The best thing I think that anyone can do is just practice. If you're not happy with how it looks, take it off. Put it back on. It's not permanent. This way you can practice, you can find out where you like your contour. A lot of people like it a little bit lower if you like to have, you know, a lower sunken in area. Some people like it higher. That's completely a personal opinion. Generally, what you want to do is put that contour under your cheekbones, highlight above it, contour at the back of your forehead, highlight in front, and then contour on the edges of your nose and highlight in front. That way it's as if a light was shining right in your face, which I have right now, and you can see all those shadows which didn't appear that well before unless I sucked my cheeks in because I had not done anything, so there was no dimension to my face. So hopefully this helped. Let me know if it did. I tried my best. Like I said, I'm not a teacher, I'm not a professional, so this is just basic terms, basic knowledge of what I have and how I would start contouring and highlighting if I had never worn makeup before. So if you like this video, please subscribe and like it, give it a thumbs up, and I would be super appreciative if you could share this video with your friends to get it out there. I'm going to try and do every step of the face, very basic tutorials, basic eyeshadow, basic eyebrows, basic foundation, basic lips, everything in a separate video, very easy to follow. So that's what this was today. Not a big video, nothing special, but it does help, hopefully, with how contouring and highlighting works. So this is the after look. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. What am I doing? Like my new Walking Dead cup? Ooh, it says fight the dead, fear the living. Ha ha. Oh, say, can you see? I'm gonna sneeze. Fun.